welcome back to Crew on Cars. Welcome back to another episode of Crew's Garage. Today I'm going to be fitting some Speedline Corsa alloys to the Subaru Impreza. I've managed to source a new set or a used set for a bargain price. That's the good news. The bad news is that they need to be painted because they are only sandblasted so far. So here they are, 17 Speedline Corsa wheels. Very similar to the Group A Rally alloys that are on the Subaru Impreza. So yeah, I do need to prime them, paint them and lacquer them, so let's get to it. The first stage is to smooth out the sandblasting, so what I'm going to do is grab some 400 grit sandpaper. That should be enough to get the alloys nice and smooth and get rid of all the rough sandblasting effects. These alloys aren't too bad. They've got a bit of chips on the side, so you can fill those in with some glazing putty and sand them down, or you can sand them out with 200 grit sandpaper, but they don't look too bad. So for now I'll try the 400 and take it from there. Okay, let the sanding begin. One mask. One piece of 400 grit sandpaper. You don't need an awful lot, just a quarter of a sheet will do. Fold that in half and then that should be enough to get us going. Some gloves, because these don't hold up too well. I'd recommend some rubber gloves. They tend to hold up a bit better. Right, all done. So, stage one, sanded down, ready for the next stage. Okay, now we're going to take our trusty microfiber towel and just dust off all that excess metal from the sanding. So just getting all that dust off just before we start prepping this for the primer. So let's just give it a quick dust off. There's going to be a lot of debris all over this from the sanding paper and the bits of alloy metal that I've sanded off, so just give it a good wipe over. The great thing about microfiber cloths is they really trap the dirt in between the fibers. That's what they're designed to do, so perfect thing for this job. Right, next phase is to get some surface cleaner. Get the paint surface all nice and degreased, clean. Get rid of any excess dirt that's been left behind or hard to remove. Any grease, any contaminants. It can be any surface cleaner for paint. Yeah, let's get it on. A fresh pair of clean gloves, because you don't want to contaminate the surface with all that dust you've just removed. Using the microfiber towel, let's get cleaning. Okay, we're now ready to finally prime this thing. Okay, now it's time for the primer. Using a 1K epoxy primer. Just need 2 coats, should be enough. 10 minutes in between each coat should do the job. So let's get going. You want to hold the can about 6 inches away from the surface. Nice smooth motion, overlapping. First coat on. Okay, it's been 10 minutes, so coat number 2. Alright, don't forget to do the underside where it's resting on the tyre. I'll get that done, and we'll be on to the next phase. Right, now time for the next phase, the base coat. So now that we've got our alloy primed and ready to go, going to take our 800 grit sandpaper, give it another sand down, another spray with the pre-cleaner, the solvent to get rid of any dust, and then the tack rag, and we should be good to go. So you really don't want to go too hard with the 800 grit sandpaper. The primer is only 2 layers thick, so you don't want to sand so much that you take off all the primer and undo all your hard work. Just give it a light sanding. We're just trying to smooth out or reduce any imperfections, as well as rough up the paint, just so that the base coat's got something to key into and really bite into. So yeah, reducing any imperfections, as well as giving it a nice grippy surface for the base coat to get a hold of. It's nice and smooth. Might be a little difficult to tell on the camera, but yeah, no paint runs. Any imperfections, no matter how small they are, even specks of dust, are going to get trapped under the primer and create a lump and cause bumpy paint, which is not going to look good, because then your base coat's going to be bumpy and your lacquer on top's going to be bumpy as well. So that's why it's really important to get it as smooth as possible. Take your time. The more time you spend doing this, the better the results will be. Having paint, learning from experience, that's really bumpy and rushed is really obvious, so it's always worth taking your time. You don't want to have to start all over again. It's much quicker just to be patient and get it right the first time. So yeah, get it as smooth as possible, and you should have a good outcome. Now for our trusty microfiber towel. This has already been, well, half of it's already been used, so I'm going to flip it around, get it to the clean side, give it a fold so we can reuse it for other alloys, and start just removing all that sanding debris and dust that you've just caused from slightly sanding it with the 800 grit. So I'm just going to give it a quick wipe down, then we'll add on the pre-paint prep. Now it's time for the surface cleaner. Pre-paint preparation. One prepared alloy ready for base coat. Okay, I've got my base coat. This is Subaru Pro Drive Gold. So the idea is to paint this about 6 inches away. Going to do 3 coats, at least 10 minutes in between each coat, and then I'm going to wait a long time for that to dry so we can do the lacquer. But first I need to go over it with a tack rag. Right, I've got my tack rag. Make sure you air it out when you get it brand new for about 15 to 20 minutes. These things are incredibly sticky, so it's like a dishcloth covered in super glue when you first open it. So get some air into it and quickly go over your alloy wheel just to pick up any bits of debris, dust or residue that have got on the alloy since we used the pre-paint preparation spray. Like I said, any bits of dust or debris or dirt that is trapped on the surface and gets painted over is going to really ruin your day. So take your time, it's worth it in the end. You'll only get frustrated. Right, finally time for the base coat. I'm interested to see what this looks like. Now remember, we're just introducing the base coat to the primer, so don't worry if it looks a bit blotchy. Took a few coats. It's much lighter than I expected, but it's going on. Hello, back for another day. Today I'm going to be fitting some decals and then finally putting the lacquer over the top as the last coat of paint that we need to do to finish off the wheel. So yeah, I actually sourced some better gold paint for these wheels. The other paint was a bit too thin and didn't work very well, so I've got some thicker paint that I've put on, much better composition and custom made paint that's come up really nicely. The rest of the wheels look great. So now it's time to put the hard clear lacquer on, as well as some decals. So let me show you what we've got. So I've ordered some brand new Speedline hubs, just hubcaps to go on. They will go over the original hubcaps. I've got the original one here, but I'm going to replace that with some new ones for the new stickers. And I've also got some Speedline decals for the wheel to get them to back to the original look that they had on the Group A rally car. I've chopped off the by Speedline bit. You can have either, but for these wheels I'm going to have Speedline right about here on the alignment on one of the spokes. So see how that goes. I'll walk you through how to put decals on the wheels in the easiest way that I've found so far. So let's give it a go. So I've got my decal here. Like I said, looking at the pictures, you want for the Speedline Corsa wheels, you want the valve opening above the Speedline logo, Speedline decal. So essentially you can use masking tape to line this up, but I'm gonna take some reference points. So I'm gonna get halfway between the top of the spoke, halfway between the bottom of the spoke. I'm gonna pinch it from the top and bottom to get the decal straight, and try and get it in the center of this spoke here, so equidistant here and here, and line it up like so. So somewhere around there, that should be the right orientation looking at the pictures. So yeah, let's go into how you actually do that in a decent way. This should go without saying, but make sure your surface is nice and clean, ready for the decal to adhere to. Make sure there's no grease. Put some prep spray on it if you need to. Something like this will do the job, just to remove any grease residue. A tack cloth's a good idea as well. Make sure the surface is nice and clean and dry. So get your decal sticker. So if you press the actual logo into the clear side, there's two sides, there's the clear side and the backing paper. Both have, the clear side has a small amount of glue on it, or at least the letters do, to help it stick to the clear side, and then the backing side is obviously kind of a bit smoother. It stops the decal adhering to it. So what you really want to do is press the logo into the clear side, so that when you peel it back, it's on the clear side and not on the backing paper. A big problem with these is that if you so yeah, I found if you get the backing paper, split it, and what you want to do is roll the backing paper and keep the clear side flat. So you really want to try and round the backing paper so that the letters actually stick to, because at the moment they're going to stick to the backing paper more than the front side and the clear side. So if you just curl the backing paper like so, and if you curl it back, that'll just help the decal stick to the clear side rather than the backing paper, because it's got less of a surface area to stick to. So just roll it back until you have the whole decal on the clear side. Be very careful with things like the letter I, because they are two separate stickers and they will come off like that. Sometimes the dot gets left behind, sometimes the majority of the I gets left behind. So you really, I'll show it this side around so you can see it. So you really want to roll the backing paper so the decal sticks to the clear side. It's a bit fiddly, but you get the hang of it after a while. So yeah, you see how that's just nicely coming off. Rolling away, so just roll it back like that until you are left with just the clear paper and the decal on the other side. Now the decal is actually heavily glued on obviously the letter side so that it sticks to your surface, and then the clear side is just to help you line it up. So as I mentioned, grab it on each end, get your reference point, so we're looking for halfway here, halfway along here in the middle of the spoke. So yeah, you just really want to eye it up, line it up, try and get your hands out the way so you can see where your reference points are, and make sure you line up both ends so that the decal is nice and straight on both sides. So you want the E in the middle there, in the middle of the spoke here, so you want it about here. Now take your time with this, because if you get it in the wrong place it's going to look really obvious and you'll just be annoyed every time you look at it. So here we go, I've got the E approximately in the middle here, the S approximately in the middle here, and the E and the S approximately in the middle of the spoke here. So yeah, now just smooth it down, really rub over those letters. It will be smooth, so as you press down with your finger you should see a slight change to the smoothness of the letter as it gets pressed into the metal. Then you know that it's nice and firm. And again, as we did with the backing paper, try and get the end of it and curl it up on itself so that the stickers don't come up with the clear plastic. If you see it come up, just give it another once over with your finger and just carefully roll it back. Take your time, there's no need to rush. And then you get a nice decal like that. Apologies about always doing this in the dark. I'm having to do it after work, so in the winter months the daylight is not what it used to be. So yeah, anyway, so clear coat, I'm using a 1K clear coat here. 2K ultra gloss clear coat would be better, but this is what I've got, so it's what I'm going to use. I'm going to start off by doing one coat, just introducing the primer to the paint, not going too heavy on the coat, just lightly spraying it on. Like I said, just introducing the lacquer to the paint. We'll do 3 base coat, 3 lacquer coats in total, 1 introductory base coat, 1 introductory coat, and then a second coat, and then a third coat with a slightly longer spray, just to get it on there nice and thick. Okay, coat number 1. Okay, coat number 2. Time for the third and final coat. So we're doing 10 minutes between each coat. The third one's going to go on a little heavier, just hold down the nozzle a little bit longer just to get that nice thick last layer of lacquer. Really help to gloss up the wheel and make it shine. Right, let that dry and then see how we get on. Don't forget to do the underside of the wheel as well, obviously, just like so. So flip it around, do another 3 coats on top just to finish them off, as you can see here. Okay, thought I'd get some filming done when it's actually daylight outside for a change. So yeah, we're all done. This is the finished product, freshly painted. Colours come up really good when I use that different paint, so yeah, it's all about using the right paint. One that goes on nice and thick, not too thin or translucent. Got the Speedline decal on. Yeah, pretty happy with how that turned out. Wasn't perfect, but it's done a pretty good job from a rattle can, so on to the next job. Now for the final finishing touches, new center caps. A few new center caps, blank ones, 55mm, and new stickers should be 55mm. So hopefully these should go on pretty easily. Get rid of that backing paper. So they're 55 internal diameter and 55 external diameter, so should sit nice and flush with the wheel. There we go. Brand new repainted Speedline alloys. Job done. Thanks for watching. On to the next one.